Dean McKay, members of the faculty, honored guests, family, friends, and fellow 2008 traditional and non-traditional graduates. We finally made it. Seems like just yesterday we were in room 109. Dr. K was running around with a mic in her hand, making us each introduce ourselves. Many here probably don't know me, so let me introduce myself as I did that day 4 years ago. Hello, my name is Eli Wilson, and I'm from Kentucky. And I'm a big Kentucky Wildcats fan. And I'm single. I was really trying to build on something that day, but I guess no one was interested. So here we are 4 years later. I'm still single. Hopefully this doctorate will change my luck. But really though, I'm honored to address you this afternoon on behalf of my 87 classmates, my 87 married classmates behind me. The other day I sent them all an email and I asked them to send me their memories from the past 4 years so that I could reflect about our experience here at the pharmacy school. I got a couple emails immediately mentioning something happened in class one day, and then I got an email from one of the participants asking not to mention it because it was kind of embarrassing. And to be quite honest, most of the other submissions probably would have been embarrassing as well. And that's definitely not what this day is about. So there I was, stuck with no material. So I received another message. A fellow student said, "Might I suggest something very short, to the point, no need to recap the past 4 years." And she was right. The last 4 years have meant something different to everyone in this room. And to adequately recap our time at BJD would take all afternoon. Our class advisor, Dr. Schultz, quoting Thomas Jefferson, said there's no such thing as a bad short speech. So I'll try to be brief. Maybe not as quick as Thomas on an eye care test, but I'll do my best. Obviously, we the class would like to thank our parents, families, friends, significant others for supporting and encouraging us during these tough years. 5 years ago, I applied to 2 pharmacy schools. I bombed an interview, I received 2 denial letters, and I was left wondering what I was going to do the rest of my life. So I called up Mom crying big crocodile tears, doing that lip quiver thing, my lungs gasping for air. Mom, who was always the type to put her arm around you and tell you everything was going to be all right, served me up a dish of reality over the phone. And she made me promise I would apply to at least 6 schools next time around, or she was cutting me off. A year later, Kaz Clow called and gave me the best news of my life. The rest is history. So thanks, Mom, for the kick in the rear. Thanks to all in the audience for sharing this special day with us. But moreover, thank you for all you've done to get us to this day. We would not have made it this far without you. We'd like to thank the faculty and staff for pushing us hard, for taking us out of our comfort zone, for breaking us down and building us back up, for calling us cheaters and then realizing we're really just that smart. Being our support system when we needed it. Just this Thursday we had our annual Follies, and the theme of the event was all in the BJD family. All in the BJD family. What a perfect description for our faculty and staff at BJD. The relationship we have with them and the relationship they have with each other. Thanks again, faculty and staff, for helping to mold us into the leaders and the innovators that we've become, and for being our family away from our family. I told you I'd be quick, but before I leave, I would like to leave my classmates with some advice. Approximately 1 year ago, I started my first rotation, my ambulatory rotation with Dr. Sprague. On the first day, I met with him in his office for a brief orientation, and he explained his expectations, told me what we'd be doing day to day, and he finished up with some pretty deep questions. He asked me, he said, "Eli," he said, "what are you afraid of? What's your biggest fear?" Now, for those that know me, I was really thinking possums and rats. But I said, "Well, that's easy, Dr. Spray." I said, it's what I fear every day when I'm working in the pharmacy, and it's what most of us here on stage fear. They just may not realize it. I told him I'm afraid of not knowing. And he said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, "You know, Dr. Spray, not knowing. Not knowing how to help a patient, not knowing what the rash is on their arm, not knowing what dose of a drug to give a child, or if a drug is contraindicated in a pregnant woman." And he said, "Well, that's understandable." But then I told him how I cope with this fear. I told him the secret weapon. It was some advice that my grandfather had passed down to my uncle years ago. And now I'm going to pass it on to you, classmates. So are you ready? Dr. Spray, I said, the advice was, never be afraid to say, "I don't know." And throughout the rotation, he probably thought I was really taking that to heart. Because I tell you what, there was a lot that I didn't know. But in all seriousness, though, in our profession, we can, at CAM, we can afford to not know. What we can't afford to do, we can't afford to neglect our patients. We can't afford to abandon our patients. We can't afford to make recommendations to our patients just so we don't look foolish or just to hear ourselves talk. See, classmates, it's perfectly fine to not know. It's not our job to have every answer, but it is our responsibility to find every answer. Dr. Spray made me do just that every time I didn't know. In a short while, we will pledge to apply our knowledge, experience, and skill to the best of our ability to assure optimal outcomes for our patients. That is all we can do. So never be afraid to say, "I don't know," classmates. Remember this and you'll be fine. With that being said, I'd like to congratulate you all on graduating with a degree that 1/100th of 1% of the world's population achieves. I'm glad to get this diploma, but I'll never forget the 4-year journey I took to get it. Thank you, classmates, staff, family, and friends, for being a part of it. I hope it was equally enjoyable. Thank you.